Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Continuing with Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela Chapter 2 Lord Chaitanya the Supreme Personality of Godhead Text number 118 Chaitanya Mahima Jani E Sabha Siddhante Chitta Dhridaha Hana Lage Mahima Jnana Haite. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. By such conclusive studies, I know the glories of Lord Chaitanya. Only by knowing these glories can one become strong and fixed in attachment to him. Purport. One can know the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only by reaching in knowledge a conclusive decision about Sri Krishna, strengthened by bona fide study of the conclusions of the Acharyas. Text 119. Chaitanya Prabhura Mahima Kahi Bharatare Krishnera Mahima Kahi Kariya Vistare. Translation. Just to enunciate the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have tried to describe the glories of Sri Krishna in detail. The last verse, number 100, no, second last verse, text 120. Chaitanya Gosanira Ei Tattva Nirupana Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Rajendra Nandana. Translation. The conclusion is that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of the King of Raja. Text 121. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, second chapter, describing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we have reached towards the end of this very beautiful chapter where we learned so many verses, so many references from other scriptures also, explaining and confirming that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Now in the first verse we read today, 118, we can see this is why Srila Prabhupada emphasized reading and hearing daily, right? What does 118 talk about? It says, by such conclusive studies, how can we come to a conclusion? Only by studying. Studying means reading, right? And hearing. I know the glories of Lord Chaitanya. Only by knowledge, these glories can one become strong and fixed by in attachment to him. So if we hear, read every day Srila Prabhupada's books for 2 hours, that is what even Guru Maharaj tells us, right? Even at the time of initiation, we take a vow that we will read Srila Prabhupada's books every day. Why 2 hours? Because that's the dosage required. If we want to become strong and fixed in attachment to the Supreme Lord, then we need to read here at least 2 hours. Just like the chanting dosage is 16 rounds minimum every day. So similarly, reading also has a dosage of 2 hours every day. Only with knowledge we can understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can understand Krishna. Then we will become strong and fixed in attachment to them. That means then no one can disturb our firm faith. No one can shake our faith. No one can break our determination, right? Now, how does attachment come? Attachment comes when there is detachment. So, if I want this and I can only hold one thing in hand, but right now I have this in my hand, I have to give this up so I can get this, right? So, there has to be detachment. But Prabhupada says, when we study the scriptures, and scrutinizingly, not just reading because I have been asked to read. No, scrutinizingly when we read and we contemplate on that and we discuss it with other devotees, then gradually we will become strong and fixed in attachment to the Lord. And then detachment will be automatic. We don't have to struggle hard for detachment. It'll be automatic, right? But this is possible only with the mercy of the spiritual master. Excuse me. The spiritual master will be able to give us mercy only when he sees we are doing attentive chanting, we are reading scrutinizingly, we are doing seva, we are associating with devotees. Then the spiritual master is pleased and then he bestows his mercy upon the disciples. So it is our choice. It is we choose what we want to do and how much we want to do. Just like when we go shopping, we have a budget in mind. Okay, I am going to the mall, but I'm not going to spend more than $100. So we have this in our mind. Then even if we see something 200 worth $200, we will not buy it because we have decided, okay, this much is how much I'm going to spend today. So similarly, we decide how much Krishna consciousness we want to do, how much we want to invest in devotional service. We decide, right? If we don't get the mercy, then we cannot reach to a conclusive decision, right? But with with the help of Guru and Krishna, we can. Without their help, we cannot reach to a conclusive decision. That's what this verse is talking about, right? All we need to do is just endeavor sincerely. Just keep endeavoring and then leave the results to Guru and Krishna. Just like Krishna says, Karmani madhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. He tells Arjuna, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, which means you must perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of those activities. So we don't look for the fruits. Oh, will I be able to get that firm faith? Will this happen? Will that happen? No. All we have to do is just sincerely endeavor. And seeing our sincere endeavor, Guru and Krishna will be very pleased. And then they will be able to help us and give them mercy. Now, here it says, become strong and fixed in attachment to Him, to the Supreme Lord. What does that mean? What does it mean that, strong and fixed in attachment to Krishna? Which means no one and no circumstance can shake our faith. It Anything can happen, whether it is physical difficulties, mental difficulties, financial difficulties, relative difficulties, whatever it may be, nothing can shake the faith. Nothing in the world can stop us to continue on our Krishna conscious path. That is called strong and fixed attachment in the Supreme Lord. The mind, it becomes very strong. It gets strengthened with bona fide knowledge. And knowledge, when it is received in association of devotees, then it becomes more powerful. What does Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami say in 119? He says, just to enunciate the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have tried to describe the glories of Sri Krishna in detail. See, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's so merciful, he's so compassionate. He's helping us to understand Krishna. How? By giving us Chaitanya Charitamrita, describing to us. He is helping us to love Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? How can we love someone unless we don't hear about them or we don't know about them? Only when we know and we, get the knowledge who that person is, what are the qualities, etc., then the love can develop, right? So here, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's being merciful to us by helping us in understanding Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he's spreading the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is what pleases Krishna. If we remember in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna clearly says, one who spreads my glories is most dear to me. Most means no one above that. Most dear. So spreading the glories of Lord Sri Krishna is very pleasing to Guru and Krishna. And now with this Chaitanya Charitamrita, of course, we have Bhagavad Gita, we have Srimad Bhagavatam, we have Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? This is, you can call it a treasure house, and we just need to take advantage of it. That's it. Treasure house. Talking about treasure house, I remembered a story just now. There was a couple who all of a sudden became very poor, and they had a small baby. So mother was carrying the baby in the arms, and they were just roaming, here to there, trying to see where they can find a place to stay, or some food to eat and feed the baby. So they were really struggling, and they were walking, and they reached a forest. And there they saw a huge tree, and there was a big hole in the bark of the tree, right near the roots. There was a huge hole, and there was a light coming out from inside the tree, inside where the roots are under the ground. And so both of them, husband and wife, they got attracted to that light, and they were curious to know what is inside. But there was a sign, a board outside near the tree, which said, um, that be careful, be alert. In other words, you have to be very alert about what's going on in your surroundings. So the husband and wife, they thought, okay, let's just go and see what is inside, because the light is so bright. So they walked down, there were stairs, and they walked down inside, and what do they see? They see there was a treasure house, a huge treasure house. And there was everything there: gold, silver, pearls, jewels, diamonds. I mean, it was full, like. And both, they thought, oh, there is so much here. This is enough for not only our lifetime, but even our child's, like future is, secure. So what they did, they started collecting the um, the jewels in, all that, the treasure they started. And getting as much as they can, so that, you know when they come out, they have enough for their lifetime and for their child also. So what happened, all of a sudden greed took over. That's natural, right? If one is not firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness, if the focus is not on Krishna, then one can easily fall off the wagon, as they say. Easily, the anarthas can attack us, and one of them is greed. So the wife thought that because I'm holding the child, I'm not able to take a lot of treasure. Let me put the child down. I'll collect all the treasure in my sari, in the pallu. I'll put as much as I can. Then I'll carry the child and we will go out. So then they gathered everything, as much as they could gather, and they came out. And as soon as they came out, the hole disappeared and the light disappeared. Now it was finished. That means done. So when they both were so happy, look, we are so lucky, we found so much treasure, and now we don't have to worry the rest of our lives. And then they started walking. They wanted to go find a place to live, etc. And all of a sudden, the mother realized, where's my child? She forgot to pick up the child after taking the treasure. Can you believe that? My hair is standing on end. How can you forget your child for treasure? This is what greed does. There was no focus. There was, just because there is a treasure house. You know what we learn from this story? When we see this treasure house, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, we should give up everything else, just like she gave up her child to collect all the treasure. I'm not saying give up your child. I'm saying at least with consciousness, there has to be detachment. When that detachment, what happened when she detached herself from the child? She got attached to the treasure house, right? So similarly, we don't have to get detached. We just have to get attached to Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Everything else will fall in place. We will still love our children, our family, but there will be no attachment to them, right? In verse number 120, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, the conclusion is that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of the King of Raja. So, this is another reference where it is very clearly stated that there is no difference between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Only thing, he has appeared in Kali Yuga in disguise as a devotee. He's called a Channa avatar, which means he is disguised. Cannot, ordinary people cannot understand that this is the Supreme Lord. And the last verse it says, praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. So, see, he is offering obeisances. He's giving respect to Guru. He's giving respect to not just one Guru, he's giving respect to all the Gurus who have instructed him in Krishna consciousness. So it's very important to give respect to those who give us knowledge. Very, very important. When remember in school when we were there, at least in India, this is still a custom. I don't know about schools over here. When the teacher comes, what do? We stand up and we offer respects. We say, good morning, teacher, right? This is offering respect because the teacher is going to impart knowledge to the students. So here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying we need to pray for their mercy. Prayer is very important. Yesterday I was hearing one lecture, it was in Hindi, and he said, Prarthana, Parishram, Pratiksha. Prayers, Prarthana, Parishram. We have to make that effort. It's not going to fall in our laps. It's not that we are sitting and boom, Krishna consciousness will fall in our laps. No, we have to do Parishram. We have to struggle. We have to endeavor, really, really, really make efforts to be more Krishna conscious. And then Pratiksha. We need to wait. Just like Prabhupada says, when the wife, has just got married, she's come and she's telling her husband, I want a child now. That's not possible. She has to do pratiksha, 9 months, right? She has to wait. She has to have that patience. So similarly, that we do prarthana, we pray. And here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, praying for their mercy. And he's saying, following the parampara. He's following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. This is how we have learned from Srila Prabhupada, right? Evam parampara praptam imam raja shayo vidu. We have received this knowledge in strict disciplic succession, and we need to pray for their mercy. But just praying is not enough. We have to do parishram. We have to take that effort. We have to put in all our efforts, sincerely endeavor on this path of Krishna consciousness, which means sincerely follow the instructions of Guru and Krishna. What do they say? Attentive chanting, reading minimum 2 hours, associating with devotees, doing some service, right? Service is also very, very important. These are the basic instructions that we get from Guru and Krishna. So when we follow that, then Guru and Krishna are pleased, and then they bestow their mercy upon us. So praying means to follow the instructions, and not only just following, making sure we are applying it in our day-to-day life. That is important, right? And it should not be that we are on a plateau. We started off like this, we went, and then now it is like this, and we stay like this. No, it should not be. We should not be on a plateau. We should continue to progress spiritually, which means we should really strive harder to remove the anarthas from our heart, right? One of the anarthas is pride, ahankar, right? Ahankar vimudhatma karta hamiti manyate. Because of pride, we think I am the doer of all that is going on. I am the one who is doing everything, right? So talking about pride, Prayag in India, right? So the Lord declared that Prayagraj is the king of all the holy places. So as soon as Prayagraj, I heard this story yesterday in that Hindi lecture. So he said that Prayagraj became very proud. Oh, I am the king of all the holy places. All will have to come to me first because I'm the king. So he invited all the he not invited he demanded all the holy places to come for a meeting to Prayagraj. He wanted to meet all of them so that he could declare, look, I am the king, to show off that I am the Lord has appointed me as the king of holy places. All the holy places came except one holy place did not come. Which one do you think which holy place did not come? Make a guess.
Vraj or Vrindavan, something.
Yes, Vrindavan did not come. And that made Prayagraj very angry. How dare you not come? I am the king and I have called all the holy places for a meeting. So Krishna came to Prayagraj and said, I made you the king of holy places, not the king of my abode. My abode is separate. I just made you the king of the holy places. Vrindavan is my supreme abode. Vrindavan is my heart. And then bolte na akal aa gayi. Then Prayagraj realized, oh, it was a pride that was making me do all this. How come I forgot that Vrindavan is the real supreme abode which is there even in the spiritual world? So sometimes what happens, position, opulences, praise, becoming famous, all that brings about pride. It leads to pride. So we have to be very, very, very careful. Even pride can come in spiritual life. Oh, I sing so beautifully, I speak so nicely, I do arti so nicely, and I dress so nicely. It could be anything. So pride can come in at any time. So we have to be very alert. So Prabhupada says that the mercy is there, just like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is talking about mercy, mercy from the Supreme Lord. So mercy is there, it's just that we need to take it. We can only take it when we put in the efforts. How? By pleasing Guru and Krishna. And pleasing Guru and Krishna means following their instructions. So this whole chapter, number 2, is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is identical with Krishna. He is Krishna. He has just come in the form of a devotee for us. For we fallen people in this Kali Yuga, he has come down as a devotee to show us how to be a devotee, to show us how to chant, what to chant, and even told us the result of attentive chanting. You see, we should understand the glory of the holy name. The holy name is very, very, very powerful. We should understand that. It's very, very, very powerful. And to understand that, there's a very nice story that one time Hanuman, along with Narad Muni, he went to visit Lord Ramachandra. And before entering the palace, Narad Muni told Hanuman, "Can you do me a favor?" He said, "Yes, yes, I can definitely." He said, Narad Muni told Hanuman that when we go inside, I want you to pay obeisance to everyone, but not to Vishwamitra. Hanuman said, "Are you kidding? If I don't pay obeisances to Vishwamitra, you know what he's going to do? He's going to curse me. He gets angry so quickly." Narad Muni said, "I will handle it. If he gets angry, I will handle it." So Hanuman, dearmost devotee of Lord Ramachandra and knew the position of Narad Muni, he agreed. So when they reached the palace, Hanuman offered obeisances to everyone but not to Vishwamitra. And sure enough, Vishwamitra got very angry. He stood up and he told Lord Ramachandra, "I am your guru, I'm your spiritual master, and I order you to kill Hanuman because he did not offer obeisances to me." Imagine if someone doesn't offer obeisances to us and we say, "Kill that person." That would be disaster, right? That is pride, nothing else but pride. So Lord Ramachandra had to follow the instruction because the Guru is saying, "Kill Hanuman." So he told Lord Ramachandra, "Tomorrow morning, I want you to kill Hanuman." So Hanuman came out of the palace with Narad Muni and said, "See, I told you something will happen, and now look." Narad Muni is saying, "Why are you so worried? Look over there is a tree. I want you to go and sit down under that tree. Tomorrow morning, early morning, you go there, sit down under the tree, and just chant Siya Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram. Just keep chanting and see the power of the holy name." So Hanuman thought, "Why tomorrow? I'll go now only." So in the night itself, he went, he sat down under the tree, and all through the night, he chanted Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram. And in the morning also, he continued chanting Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram. Now it was morning, and Vishwamitra reminded Lord Ramachandra, "Do you remember what you have to do today? You have to kill Hanuman." So they both went and they looked and asked Narad Muni. Narad Muni said, "Look, there he's sitting. He's under that tree." So Lord Ramachandra had to remove his arrow and put it on the bow. And he had to shoot the arrow at Hanuman. And guess what? The arrow went. Arrow is belonging to Lord Ramachandra. Hanuman is chanting Sitaram, Sitaram. So Ram and Ram. So the arrow went straight to Hanuman and fell at the feet and just sat down there. Arrow was thinking, "I have been shot by Ram. Here there is chanting of Ram. How can I kill?" So Vishwamitra was surprised. He said, "Shoot another arrow." So like that, Lord Ramachandra kept shooting the arrows and the arrow kept coming and sitting next to Hanuman. This is the power of holy name. And Narad Muni told, why is he not able to kill Hanuman? Because he's chanting the holy names of Lord Ramachandra. That is the power of holy name, right? Prabhupada has given us a very simple process. There's no need to speculate. There's no need to do any research, nothing at all. All we have to do is understand that I am imperfect. Remember, Prabhupada told us we have 4 defects: imperfect senses, we are in illusion, we make mistakes, and we have tendency to cheat. These are the 4 imperfections. In fact, talking about imperfect senses, On Wednesday was Ram Navami. So I was invited to a program and I went there. And by the time it got over, it was 9:30 in the night. And so I put in, it was a new place for me. First time I had gone there. So I started my GPS and came out of the subdivision. Now, because of cataract, the vision is not very clear, especially at night. And there were not enough street lights just outside the subdivision. So when the signal turned green, I had to turn left. So I turned left. I turned left, and what do I see? Cars coming straight at me, which means I was on the wrong side. And immediately, oh, Krishna! And then I started chanting and started thinking, now what? Fortunately, it was 9:30, so there was not much traffic. Had there been traffic, I would have been chanting Krishna for the last time, finished. So then I started thinking, now what do I do? And because it was not the highway, there were, subdivisions on either side. So I thought, I gave the left arrow signal and I thought I'll go into the first left lane I find, because I cannot go on the right because there's a median. So my car cannot fly and go on the other side, I cannot. So I'm looking, and there is no subdivision on the left side for me to turn. And the car coming right in front of me, fortunately, is going to the next lane and not banging into me, but blowing the horns like, are you crazy? What are you doing in our lane? You're not supposed to be here. So I thought, okay, if this is the end, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then all of a sudden, I see a small portion of the median that was open, for turning lanes or whatever. And I immediately took that and went on the right side, the correct side that I was supposed to be. Driving on the wrong side, can you imagine? Had it been on highway, finished. The car would have gone up, in the air and fallen down. Imperfect senses, we cannot even see properly. So how can we be proud that, oh, I am this and I am that? And no. So there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee any moment can be the last moment of our life. So we have to become very, very serious. So we need to pray. We need to do prarthana, praying, parishrams, very, very hardly, not hardly, very hard efforts or very sincere efforts have to be there. And then pratiksha, we need to have that patience and wait. Now, talking about prayers, when Dhruva Maharaj, when he prayed for the Lord, what happened? Lord immediately came on Garuda. When Gajendra prayed, Lord came bare feet running, right? When Prahlad Maharaj prayed, the Lord took that form of Nrsingadev and came from a pillar. So prayers are very, very powerful. And the best prayer that has been given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for Kali Yuga is chanting of the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Very, very powerful. So if somehow or the other we can take to Krishna consciousness more seriously. Yes, we are serious. That's why we are here hearing right now in the morning, early in the morning, hearing Chaitanya Charitamrita, because we are serious, but we need to become more and more serious. We need to progress spiritually. And if we are lacking somewhere, then we need to sit down and think about it. Where am I lacking? Is it my faith? Is it my determination? Is it my sincerity? Is it my seriousness? What is it that I'm lacking in? And then work on it. When we do that, then we will be able to, progress spiritually. That is very important. Just like we want our children to progress. Now they are in third grade. Next year, we want them to go in fourth grade. Not that, oh, you can stay in third grade for 10 years. No. Right? So we need to write down in our diary, what is it that I'm doing throughout the day? And what is it that I can add on, which I can put in extra If I am reading, am I reading scrutinizingly? If I am chanting, am I hearing what I'm chanting? So, this way, we will be able to progress spiritually, and that is going to please Guru and Krishna very much. Hare Krishna.